YouTube. Today we're going to be looking at a classic Colt 1911. And before we go any further, I'm going to show you that this Colt 1911 does not have anything in it, and we are clear to make this video. So what we have here, we have a Colt Series 70 1911 government model, and this is chambered in 45 ACP, and in my opinion, this is probably the best government model plain Jane 1911 that you can buy. And this particular one is an original one, and this was built in 1978. And I'm going to show you some of the close-ups of it. Right here on the side, the roll marks say Colt Mark IV Series 70 government model, 45 automatic caliber. It has a little Colt pony. It has walnut grips on it, full checkered walnut grips with the gold Colt medallions on it. And on the other side, it has your serial number. It has the Colt manufacturing area, and on the side here of the slide, it says Colt government model. So this is just a plain Jane government model Series 70. Now, the reason why this is the best one to buy, in my opinion, is this is back in the 70s when Colt really built good stuff. And what it was a Series 70. I've gone over this before in past videos, but I'll go back into it again. Is a Series 70 is not the firing pin system, folks. It is not the fact that it doesn't have a firing pin block like the Series 80s. And these pistols were built between 1970 and 1983. They called them the Series 70. And what made them the Series 70 is this bushing here, this barrel bushing. Now on the outside, it looks like a regular 1911 barrel bushing, but it's not. It has these little collet fingers that grip onto the barrel. And the barrel is a little bit flared on the end. And what it does is it tightens this barrel up on the end and makes it more accurate and keeps the barrel from moving in any way. And that is the difference in the Series 70 and the regular ones, and the ones prior to that and the ones that preceded that. They stopped doing that, I believe, when the Series 80 started. They no longer put the collet bushing in them. Now, a little bit of history about the Colt 1911 is, and the 1911 was introduced in 1911, and it went through a change in 1924, and it came out with what they called the A1. And the A1 was the first little changes that they did to it after having some feedback from the soldiers. And what they did is they added on a little bit longer beaver tail right here to keep the hammer from coming back and biting you when you're firing this gun. They put a little bit better sights on it, and when I say a little bit better, I do mean a little bit better, but not much. They put an arched mainspring housing on the back. They scalloped out the actual frame right here in case you were going to use gloves or anything. You'd have a little bit more room, and they put a shorter trigger in it, and pretty much everything remained unchanged until 1970. So this gun was, the government model Colt was exactly the same from 1924 to 1970. Then in 1970 they came out with what they call the Series 70, and that's when they added this collet bushing. It was the very first change that has been done to this gun since 1924. A lot of people don't realize that. But these are awesome shooting guns. They're just extremely accurate, and if you get one into the 70s, they had the absolute most gorgeous finish on it that you'll ever see. And if you'll look at this thing, it absolutely looks like a mirror. Now, the later model ones that were made after 1980, like from 1980 to 83, they have the smaller roll marks on the side. And if you'll look at this real close, this is the large roll mark model. That this actual lettering takes up almost the whole side of it, and it's a lot more sharp than the later model ones, the last 2 or 3 years of production for the Series 70 ones. The roll marks are a lot better on them, in my opinion, and the finish was definitely better. Now I have a video that shows you a very modern Series 70, and then I have one that was made in the 70s, and then one that was made in the 80s, and I showed you the difference in all the finish on it. This is like the kind of finish that was on the famous Pythons. You know, it's got that royal blue, very deep high gloss blue on it. So on this gun, all the sides are are glossed blued on it, and then on the tops and then the bottoms of it are all matte, so it's like a bee blast matte finish. And I'm going to do some comparisons. I never realized I never showed this gun off and showed you a regular government model, but I'll do some comparisons to a couple other 1911s and we'll look at some of the differences. But on this gun, it's just plain Jane. There's no front strap, there's no undercut on it. It has the arched mainstream housing, there's no crazy memory hump on it. It's got a regular 1911 hammer on it. It's got a regular GI type sights on it. It's just a regular everyday mill 1911. It's just got a regular, this is a 7-round original Colt magazine, and you can put 8-round like Wilson Combat magazines in it. It will run them fine. The operation on this thing is very smooth on them because they really did their homework back then when they made 1911s. And I'll show you the trigger pull on them. Like I said before, there is no bad 1911 triggers, but this one's pretty good. And the reset on this gun is going to be right here and then go. It's just a real crisp, like you would expect on a 1911. Now your serrations, your side serrations are GI style. They're just straight up and down because this is just a straight government model. There is no lowering down of the ejection port. There's no flaring or anything like that because this is just a stripped down regular government model Series 70. So in my opinion, if you were wanting just a regular government model Series 70 or regular government model Colt 1911, this is probably the best one to get because it has all the regular features of a regular government model 1911, and it has the added feature of the collet bushing on the end that gives it more accuracy. Now they started remaking these again in like 2000, I believe 2010 or 2012, somewhere around this, and it has the same roll marks on the side that says Colt Mark IV Series 70. And what that was Colt in 1983 pretty much gave in to the government, and they started putting a firing pin block in them, and they made what they call the Series 80 firing system. So it has like a little plunger underneath here, and it has a block for the firing pin, so they're more quote unquote drop safe. Well, it really affected the trigger on them, and I am with Colt 1911s like Smith & Wesson people are with the lock on the revolver. I won't buy one that has a Series 80 firing pin system in them. I don't like them. I don't like the way the triggers feel, and it makes doing any work to them a little bit more difficult. So I'd rather have the Series 70 style firing system, and that's what people refer to it to. So I won't buy like a SIG 1911 or later Kimber or anything like that, because all those ones have that firing pin block in them, and that's just not for me, folks. I'm just not going to do that. So I'd rather stick with the traditional John Moses Browning design that had no firing pin block or anything like that. I don't like external extractors or anything like that. Anything that deviates away from what this gun was intended to be, I usually steer away from it. But this was the very first modification made since 1924, and it has remained this way until the present day, minus the Series 80 ones that they came out with. But when they re-released the Series 70, basically they just started offering a gun without the firing pin block in it again, because they got so much backlash from the public wanting to have a Series 70 firing system in it again. But what they did not do is include that collet bushing. There's been a lot of people talk, and I think it's mostly rumors about these collet bushings breaking. I've had several of these over the years, these Series 70s, original ones with collet bushings in them, and I've never had one break, and I've fired quite a bit through all of them. But people are going to talk, one can happen. You know how the internet is, and things can go crazy. Now, we'll do a comparison on my other Series 70 that I have. I have a Gold Cup National Match, and was made probably a couple years away from this one, and they have pretty much the same finish, and we'll show some of the differences. But I didn't realize I had never done just a regular government model Colt 1911 and showed it to you. So this is my 1978 Colt Mark IV, Series 70, government model, chambered in 45. That's about as American Pie, a Colt 45. If you have any questions on this gun, feel free to ask. I'll be happy to answer any question that I can. If I don't know the answer, I will find it for you. Thank you very much for watching my video today, and you folks have a great day.